requested that I share a video with some stretches. Several people ask, especially a lot of stuff with the back or the hips, wanting to know some exercise they can do to stretch them out. So this is just a video here to show you some of those stretches that you can do. So hopefully, I might have to adjust the camera every once in a while to make sure that we stay in the frame. But if you're gonna come down onto your back and you want to just lay down flat. So once you lay down flat, you're just gonna kind of take your arms out where it feels natural. It might be a T position, might be all the way down by your sides, but you wanna have your shoulders down and relaxed. You're gonna pull your knees up. This is what we call a tabletop position. Here's Mr. Winston's gonna come and hang out with us. You notice that my knees are flat there, or the shins are flat towards the ceiling. So if I was to put a tray there, it would sit. You wouldn't spill whatever you had sitting there. So that's how we know. Now you're going to keep your shoulders stable, and you're just going to roll your hips to the side. You're gonna let your feet come to the floor. Let me move back just a little bit, there we go. So you let your feet come to the floor, and your knees might be all the way up here. So it depends on how tight your low back and your hips are. But my arm is staying on the floor. So I know you can't really see in the back what's happening, but my arms are staying on the floor here. And I'm just letting my legs roll over to the side. And you're just gonna lay there and rest, okay? Remember, the minimum that you can use for a stretch is 20 seconds, okay? But the best is gonna be 30 to 45 seconds, okay? If you can hold it for a minute, might be even better, okay? But if you hold it less than 20 seconds, you're not allowing the body time to respond to the stretch. So we just lay there and let it rest. You keep focusing on making sure that back arm is staying down on the floor. And you should feel that stretch there in the low back and into your hips. And then once you've been there for whatever amount of time you're going to stay, you're going to just bring those knees back through the center. So we're gonna find that position in the center, just kind of re-stabilizing your hips. And then you'll be able to see the back arm on this one. So I'm gonna roll to the other side. So I'm just gonna bring my legs over, my feet come to the floor. My knees don't come all the way, but they separate. So the top knee, or what would be the bottom knee now, is laying on the floor, but this top one doesn't come all the way. Now, if you want to do what's called assisted stretching, and if it feels okay, but you can just feel that it's tight, I can take my hand on this top leg and actually just kind of give some gentle pressure, and so I'll get a little bit deeper stretch. So as long as it's not hurting, okay? So the difference when we're stretching, we can feel the stretch, and it might feel a little bit uncomfortable, but it's not a sharp pain. If we do something and we feel a sharp pain, we always stop what we're doing, right? So again, we're just twisting here, and I'm just a little bit tighter on this side, so my legs aren't quite as relaxed. So even though that bottom leg is all the way down, this one's here, but notice this arm is staying on the floor. So if I was to roll up like this, sure, my legs would come all the way over, but I am not feeling any stretch here now. So I've got to keep that shoulder down. And again, your front hand is the one that you would use if you're going to do that assisted stretching, to kind of just use that as a lever to pull across. So then we're gonna come back here. So now I'm gonna show you the opposite way to do this. You're gonna actually roll onto your side. This is called a book opener. So on that one, we were keeping our shoulders stable and our legs were moving, right? So on this one, you're gonna keep your legs stable, but your arms are going to move. So our hands are straight out in front of our chest here, and you're just going to open your book. That's why it's called a book opener. And you're going to lay those shoulders back. We're keeping our legs down. So we don't let the legs roll up here. We keep the legs down, and we just open up through the top part of the body. Okay, so the other one, we were working on the lower part of the body, that low back and hips. This here works up more into the thoracic spine, so up into the shoulder area, being able to open that. Now, you might notice a stretch along the front of your armpit area and the front part of your shoulder here. So that's really tight. You'll feel that stretching and opening that as well. And again, just resting. How long? 30 to 45 seconds is best, but a minimum of 20 seconds, okay? And you might get to where you can just kind of tell, you just lay there. You might lay there for a whole minute or two. If it feels good and you feel your body releasing through the stretch, then you can totally do that. Now, of course, for this one, you would have to change sides. So here's that stretch here. So in order to do the other side, I'm just gonna flip. Now, of course, I could flip backwards, but then you're just looking at the back side of me. So for the sake of the camera, I'm just moving to the other side. So we lay here, the arms are straight out in front, the legs stay stable, and we open up through the chest. Now, this is my shoulder that I had surgery on, much tighter. I don't know if you can kind of see here, but see how my hand's hovering up here? I can't get that all the way open. It's much tighter on this side. But again, this is one of the things that I do with my physical therapy. I'm working on it, so it'll get better. But you can feel that, and the longer that you can kind of lay there through the stretch, the more you'll feel the hand, if it is hovering like mine now is finally starting to settle towards the floor. But it takes a little bit because it's kind of tight in there from the surgery. And release. So again, this is your book opener, working from the top of that. So I'm going to show you a figure 4 stretch. I'm going to show you laying down first, and then I'll show you how you can do it from a seated position. So you're just going to take your leg and cross it over so it makes like a figure 4. You're going to flex that foot. That's what protects the knee. Then you're just going to start to lift the legs up, so you can just grab right here behind the thigh, and you just start to pull that leg towards you. As you do that, you can feel the stretch in that hip there. Yeah? You could put your foot up on a wall, so this leg that's on the bottom here, this one here, if I put that on a wall and then kind of sandwich myself there, that is another way to do it. Some of you have probably seen us do this in class in a seated position. So we sit, we bring the foot over like this, and then we bring the tummy forward. So we're just changing the angle of what we're moving, okay? And of course you just do it on the other side. So just bringing that leg over, flex the foot to protect the knee, pressing that knee forward, and then just pulling it towards you, or getting that foot up against a wall or something, okay? Now you can do this seated on the floor. In yoga, it's actually called a seated hip and butt stretch. So if I sit here and I take a leg long, so I bring that leg over in that same figure 4 type position, you bring your hands behind your back as like a kickstand, so it keeps the back tall so that we don't kind of lean back. Then you just start to bring that leg forward. As you do that, you just kind of sandwich your chest towards the leg. So it's always the same movement. It's just a difference in the leverage in the way that you're laying, whether you're sitting up tall on a chair and you're bringing your, tummy forward to lay down on your thighs, or whether you've got your foot propped on a wall. But the same movement is just you're decreasing the angle between your tummy and your thighs, okay? And as you do that, you can feel that stretch into the hip. Does that make sense? Perfect. And again, you can just leave that here. And if you're really tight, this is kind of a good way to do it because you can do it kind of in increments. So you can be here where your leg's not pulled up very far. Or if you're seated in a chair, you might not even be able to get your legs into this figure 4 position. So you might just have to cross at the ankles and sit and lean forward doing that way. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense. Gives you some stretches that you can do for your low back, for your hips, trying to just release that there, and hopefully that will help with some pain and discomfort. So have a great day.